Hello there, Win. Alright, let's jump into your work. So, let's see. Some people believe that young people should be punished in the same way as adults. Okay. Experts whether you have debated whether teenagers should be punished strictly once they are involved in serious crime. Good. Those who believe that they should be accountable for their behaviour. I think mine's just picking up on the British American. I strongly disagree that they should be treated as adults. Good. Here's a suggestion to improve. Tried as adults or sentenced as adults, just to be a little bit more specific to the case of law and legal. This essay will argue that there are alternative approaches to address teenage criminals more effectively by using examples from Norway and Harvard University. Excellent. On one hand, there is ample evidence that devastating consequences of delinquency may have negative impacts on both the victims and society, which are the same as adults' crime. Okay, let's see. That the devastating consequences of delinquency may have negative impacts on the victims and society, which are the same. I need to read it once or twice. I think what we wanted to say here was, okay, after reading it a few times, I'd just delete this. And now it makes sense. Therefore, they should not be too lenient on young people. Therefore, the authorities should not be too lenient on young offenders, even though they are not yet considered fully mature. Okay. Moreover, severe punishment seems to work as a deterrent. Great. Which allows immature people from engaging with outlaw activities. Illegal, I think, would have been better. A severe punishment seems to work as a deterrent and can alarm immature people from engaging with illegal activities. Be careful here. Immature people could be me and you, adults, doing silly things. Okay? So I think we need to just be careful here. Moreover, severe punishment seems to work as a deterrent and can alarm young people from engaging with illegal activities. However, it must not be forgotten, that despite their involvement in serious violations, juveniles should not be penalised as a true adult. Fine. Great. According to scientific research by Harvard University, children under 18 years old are more susceptible to impulsive and high-risk behaviour. Beautiful. While they may fail to recognise the disastrous consequences led by their actions, therefore it is conclusively clear that harsh punishment may not adapt to coping with juvenile cases. Perfect. Excellent little summary there. Make sure that we are answering the question. Excellent. On the other hand, although this is a case of delinquency of rape, robbery, and even homicide, penalties such as incarceration or even a death penalty should not be overstated. Maybe. This is largely because the root of crime is often a wonderful phrase there, often linked with the lack of education, with a lack of education maybe. Great using the negative construction there, avoiding the negative construction. Correct, accurate use of lack, that's what I wanted to say. If the government can provide young violators with the opportunities which allow them to participate in certain community service and taking life skills training courses, the recidivism rates may be reduced. Wonderful. For example, Norway is a country often cited as an example of a country that emphasises rehabilitation over punishment. Its government surveys indicated that through education and job training, recidivism, repeat offender rates, but using it twice is is okay. It's not ideal, but it's a higher level word anyway. But could we change it into a noun? The rate that criminals receive. I need to check. Yeah, actually, sometimes you can, etymologically reverse and try and find the verb in there, but I couldn't find it. So maybe, as I first suggested, repeat offenders would have been a good alternative. Government services receiving rates have reduced by 26% over the last decade due to juveniles being integrated into society successfully. Thus, it is possible to state beyond doubt that education is a fundamentally effective method for solving adolescent crime rates. Is that what was asked? Okay. Let's see. This is. Okay. So the body paragraph is okay, but I would have in this case, we could have just really ensured we're picking up maximum points for task response by stating something like, thus it is possible to state beyond doubt that educating young adults rather than punishing them as fully grown adults is a far more effective and fairer method. Yeah, that's it. Okay, if we could get that comparison in adults, just to make sure that we are like a rescue sentence, just to make sure that your argument is educating them is better than sending them to jail, which is what adults receive. Okay, because we don't have even the word adult in here. And if we'd have just put in the final sentence, why are we talking about education? Well, it's better than educating the younger criminals is better than treating them as adults, and it's fairer. Okay? And they should be given a second chance. I don't know. But we needed something in there as adults saying that they should definitely not be treated the same as adults, because when they're educated, they go on to be valuable members of society, for example. And I believe that we should prioritise rehabilitation of traditional punishment by treating adolescent severe crime. Okay. Believe that we should prioritise rehabilitation and education over traditional adult punishment. Firmly believe that we should prioritise rehabilitation and education for young adults rather than assigning them the same traditional punishment that adults receive. Okay, again, back to the question. We're going to get full points for task response. Okay? Moving on. The table demonstrates, let me see the picture. Okay, so here we've got a conjunction. While the pie chart illustrates the percentage of satisfaction levels of the visits, comma, the table, I'd have just started off with the table, it comes first. While the table shows the total numbers of visitors, the pie charts show their level of satisfaction. Okay, yeah, the level of satisfaction before and after refurbishment. And the statistics provided is clearly seen that the annual visiting numbers increased by nearly 20% during the individual 2 years. Okay, let me just check. Good one. Okay, Additionally, the results of these surveys, because we're talking about specific ones, of these surveys carried out by visitors also shows an improved graph of satisfaction after the renovation. According to the pie chart, during the year before the renovation, 15 plus 30% was very satisfied. Okay, maybe we could have grouped these together, 15 plus 30. Okay, so what are these? The positive. Okay, so maybe group the positive ones together, 15 plus 30. The respondents, according to the pie chart, during the year before the renovation, only around 45% of the respondents shared a positive, or answered with a positive result. Okay, which dovetails nicely, which sets you up for a beautiful comparison. Full stop. Whereas in the year following the refurbishment, this amount had jumped to, had almost doubled to 75% positive respondents. It jumped to over 75%. Jumped to 75%. Very dissatisfied. Okay, so we should have broken this. Let's see. While as many as half of the interviewees expressed that they were dissatisfied or even very dissatisfied with the museum's experience. Okay. In comparison, the poll indicated that a total of 75% of the visitors, which is approximately twice its previous figures, were completely satisfied with the renovated museum visits. Simultaneously, the number of dissatisfied visits dropped by 20%, with merely 15% dissatisfaction and 5% very dissatisfied. Okay, let's see. So which year is this? Simultaneously. Okay, dropped to 20%. Let me explain why. Number of dissatisfied visits dropped by 20%. So we got dissatisfied 40. If it dropped by 20%, that means it dropped by, so 10% is 4, 20% is 8. So it dropped by 8%, and we should see 32. But we don't. We see 15. So we could say it dropped by almost, I would say it dropped by, we could say 25 percentage points, or dropped to just 15%. But we can't say dropped by 20%. Assuming that's the comparison of merely, okay, dropped from, or we could say simultaneously the number of dissatisfied visits dropped from 40% prior to the refurbishment to just 15% after or following the refurbishment. Okay. Meanwhile, the figures for no-response visitors remained at the same levels during the two periods. Overall, there is an increasing interest in visiting to its refurbishment. No. Okay, there is an increase. It's not happening. So we don't use the gerund here. Overall, there is an increase in satisfaction for visitors visiting, for visitors at Ashdown Museum, or for visitors visiting Ashdown Museum after its refurbishment, including the total visitor flow and the satisfaction rates. Yes, There, just put a full stop and rephrase it as I suggested. We don't need that. Okay, great work that, Wen. Great work. Implement the corrections and send it back to me, please.